Welcome to our channel. On this episode, we focused on the digital asset known as XRP. We gather videos and information from the web, and if you stick around, we are going to share it with you. So stay tuned for news and updates.
In 2017, when William Hinman was named Director of Corporation Finance at the SEC, he fought behind the scenes while in office to keep getting millions of dollars in payments from his old law firm, Simpson Thacher. Hinman was warned repeatedly that this meant if he did anything as a public official that affected Simpson Thacher, he'd be breaking the law. Simpson Thacher joined the enterprise Ethereum Alliance, a group with the sole mission to promote Ethereum, while paying Hinman millions. In 2018, Hinman gave a high-profile speech declaring that Ethereum's digital token, Ether, is not a security.
We believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions.
The price of Ether immediately took off.
That was after the comments by the SEC, so interesting market action there, right? Whoa.
Did William Hinman break the law? Federal rules say that even the appearance of a conflict is a serious violation by public officials. How did this happen? Why was Hinman allowed to promote Ether in a speech given his financial conflicts? And how did a speech involving so much of the SEC staff that was certain to move the crypto markets fail to be screened for conflicts that would have been found with a single Google search? The crypto markets are in turmoil, and investors don't feel protected. How can we have confidence in the SEC if conflicts of interest are left unchecked? It's time for an investigation. A watchdog organization, Empower Oversight, has sent a formal referral of evidence on Hinman to the SEC's Inspector General. Now they need to act. Only Congress has oversight on the SEC. Demand your lawmakers support an investigation. Connect to Congress today.
Use Bitcoin to buy a cup of coffee on campus here at Coupa Cafe. There's no expectation of profit. You know, you're not relying on the efforts of others for any of your return. There's nothing that the lawyers call commonality. So when you use Bitcoin for a cup of coffee, that's not a securities transaction, and that's not a security. So the securities laws would have nothing to do with that. On the other hand, suppose you go on the internet and you buy $200,000 of Bitcoin and you stick it in your electronic wallet and you're going to hold it there for 4 or 5 years thinking that Bitcoin will double or triple. Well, under those circumstances, it's very easy to describe that transaction as involving the purchase and sale of a security. You've got investment of money. You've got an expectation of profit. You're relying on the efforts of others. The others here are the miners that, in effect, have to operate the Bitcoin system in order to validate every transaction. We know that we can package interests in Bitcoin so that those interests are securities. That's easy. But the interesting question is, and the law hasn't gotten here yet, is Bitcoin itself a security? I think Bitcoin's future in the United States is potentially quite different than it is outside the United States. I think Bitcoin's going to run into real hurdles, becoming a mechanism for exchange that'll be broadly accepted in the United States. But if you're going to try to, move value from a place like, United Arab Emirates to the Philippines, or, you want to move value from Indonesia to Pakistan, you can imagine many of these different systems working well in that kind of an environment. Whether they're going to wind up working well in the United States with all of our know your customer regulations, banking regulations, anti-money laundering regulations, Regulation E, securities laws, and the like, I'm skeptical about whether that technology is going to be able to get traction once you load that technology on with all of the legal compliance that's really necessary to work in the United States.
Stifling innovation. I mean, are you worried about innovation being stifled?
Oh, I think I'm not worried about it. It's happening. The first piece of advice I give entrepreneurs that are starting companies in the crypto space, to the extent they are US based, the first piece of advice I give them is don't incorporate in the United States. The rules of the road in the United States are not clear as compared to if you're in Japan or the UK or Switzerland or Singapore. These are all countries where the governments have done the work.
Stifling.
Well, we certainly need to address the financial stability and investor protection issues. But as we say in the chapter, there are deeper structural issues. For example, the role of stablecoins, which are very central in this ecosystem. So it tells us that, the whole system is in search of a nominal anchor. So if central bank money didn't exist, it would need to be invented, as it were. The more serious problem is the fragmentation of the crypto universe, which means that crypto cannot serve the purpose of money in the sense that it doesn't, recreate this virtuous circle from greater acceptance to greater use. We see it as a fusion of new capabilities around the core of the trust provided by central bank money itself. In the chapter, we used a metaphor of a tree where the range of services provided by banks and other intermediaries are supported by the solid trunk of a tree, which represents the central bank itself. And in this sense, the services, which come from the tree, are rooted, in a figurative sense, in the ultimate settlement on the central bank balance sheet. Well, new capabilities are things like decentralization, smart contracts, and composability, which are the functions that are known in crypto. But what we show is that all of this can be built around the core of, central bank money, so that we have the best of both the conventional system, and the new capabilities.
This is not financial advice, and by any means you should not take any advice from us. We have no financial background. This channel is strictly fun-based. So stay along for the ride, and if you like what you see, be free to like and subscribe.